Welcome to Evolving Into Her. I'm Ashley Hope, and this is your weekly check-in to get out of your head, into your body, and back into alignment with the version of you who's already living the vision. So grab your favorite cup of tea, settle in, and let's get into the show. Hey, welcome back to Evolving Into Her. I'm your host, Ashley Hope. And before we get started today, can we acknowledge something for a quick second? Baby, it is March. March already. We blinked and January was gone. And then we blinked again and February had packed its bags like she had somewhere to be. And now we're here in March, right before spring. And I don't know about you, but something about that feels like a little nudge from God going, are you paying attention? Because the year is moving. Okay. And I say that with so much love because I know how easy it is to get to March and realize that the year has kind of just, happened to you. And the intentions you set in January, they feel far away. You didn't really do anything with them. The version of yourself you said you're going to be this year is still waiting in the wings. She's waiting for you to tag her in. And something in you knows that it's time. Not tomorrow, not when things settle, but now. And one of the most powerful containers I have ever created for this kind of season opens in just a few weeks. And my challenge 75 Her, which is basically a 75-day devotion to the woman you're becoming. It begins right after the spring equinox on Monday, March 23rd, which honestly could not be more perfectly timed, divinely timed. And just so you know, early bird pricing closes this Friday, March 6th. So if it's on your heart, if you're feeling that pull to do it, set a reminder. Friday is the last day to get early bird pricing. Enrollment will be open after that, but for a slightly higher price, okay? All right, so today's episode is a good one, and it's exactly what I feel like we all need right now. And we're talking about 6 green flags for your own life, 6 signs that your inner work is actually working, even when it doesn't feel like it, even when it doesn't look like it. And this is basically a love letter. This is a love note for the woman who has been doing the work, which is you, girl, you on the other end of this phone, you. And it's a little reminder that it's all adding up. It's paying off. All right. So grab something you can sift slow and let's get into the show. Okay, so today's episode is a little different. We're not going deep. We're not unpacking anything. There are no practical takeaways. Today, I just want to celebrate you for a second. You on the other end of this phone, you friend, because I talk to a lot of women who are doing the work. You're journaling, you're regulating, you're reprogramming, praying, you're showing up, you're reading the books, you're listening to the podcast, and still wondering if any of it is actually doing anything, if it's moving the needle. And she's still waiting for some big dramatic sign that she's changed. She's still measuring herself against some future version of herself and feeling like she's falling short. And I just want you to breathe. And I want to offer you a different lens today, a different perspective, because the signs that your inner work is working are usually not dramatic. They're usually not grandiose. They're quiet. They're subtle. And they're the kind of thing you almost miss because you're so focused on how far you still have to go. So today we're going to talk about 6 green flags for your own life, 6 signs that you are more aligned than you think. And I just want you to listen and give yourself some credit, celebrate yourself, and really big up yourself. You are doing a good job. And there are so many more signs than 6. By the way, we could do this all day. We could talk about rest finally feeling like rest instead of laziness, no longer needing to win the argument with someone else or with yourself, setting a boundary and not spending 3 or 4 days apologizing for it or feeling guilty for it, choosing yourself and actually feeling okay about that, feeling proud of that. The list goes on and on, but today we're going 6 deep. And for the note taking girlies, feel free to take notes if you just need a reminder of how far you've come, how much work you've actually done. So you could look back and celebrate yourself when you're feeling like you're not where you want to be yet. Okay. So, green flag number one, you catch yourself mid thought and you choose differently. And this one is so underrated. And I need you to hear me on this. Okay. You used to let that thought run, you used to ruminate on it, and you used to spiral into self criticism, the worst case scenario, anxiety. Your mind would just go and you'd be halfway down this rabbit hole before you even realize what happened. But now you catch it. And maybe not every time, we're human, maybe not even most of the time yet, but sometimes you hear it starting and something in you goes, wait, that's not true. That's not who I am anymore. And that pause, that tiny moment of awareness between the thought and the reaction, that is neurological change. Pat yourself on the back, friend. That is your brain building new pathways. That is the work working. And so you don't have to be perfect at redirecting yet. The awareness alone changes something. And I'm going to tell you right now, most people never get there. So you're doing something right. Green flag number two, your self talk has gotten quieter and kinder. You've put that inner mean girl in the back seat. All right. She doesn't get to drive anymore. And I want you to think about the way you used to speak to yourself and the things you would say inside your own head that you would never say to another human being. You would never say to your little sister. You would never say to your best friend. And it's the constant commentary, the criticism, the you should have known better. You always do this. Who do you think you are? And now think about what that voice sounds like today. And maybe that old voice is not gone. Maybe it still shows up, but is it quieter? Is she a little less mean? Do you find yourself sometimes, even occasionally offering yourself some grace instead of a verdict and instead of criticism? That is growth, real, tangible, significant growth. And we know this by now. The nervous system cannot regulate in an environment of constant self attack. And the subconscious cannot rewrite itself when the internal dialogue is still confirming the old story. So, a kinder inner voice is not a small thing, it's not a small accomplishment. It is one of the most foundational shifts you can make, friend. And if your inner voice is getting a little quieter, a little kinder, even just a little, that is a green flag worth celebrating. Okay. Green flag number three, you can feel the difference between fear and intuition. And this one is so good because for a long time, most of us couldn't tell the difference. All right. Because fear could feel urgent and loud and convincing, and it knows exactly what to say to make you stay small. But intuition is quieter, it's softer. It's like this inner knowing, it's a whisper. It doesn't argue with you, it just knows. And when your nervous system is dysregulated, when you're living in that chronic kind of low grade threat state we talked about last week, everything feels like fear. Everything feels like danger, like anxiety. And you lose access to your own inner knowing because that alarm is always going off. There's always danger. It's always on high alert. It's always in fight or flight. So when you start to regulate and when you create enough safety in your body that the alarm isn't constantly blaring and sounding off, you start to be able to feel the difference. Fear has a certain quality to it. Tight, you feel the tightness in your chest, maybe your stomach, you feel tension in your shoulders. It's urgent, it's contracted. And intuition has a different quality. It's clear, it's calm, it's certain, even when it's uncomfortable. And if you're starting to notice that difference, if you're catching yourself saying, this feels like fear, this feels like anxiety, that is your nervous system coming online in a new way. That is alignment. That is a massive green flag. So clap it up for yourself. Big up yourself, okay? Green flag number four. You're not as easily triggered by the things that used to send you spiraling. And I want you to take a moment and just really think of something that used to absolutely wreck you, that would take you from 0 to 100, that would really tick you off. All right. Maybe it's a certain kind of comment, a specific situation, someone's tone of voice. And I'm very sensitive to someone's tone of voice because who are you talking to? but basically something that would send you into a full spiral, or you would get defensive, or you'd shut down, or you'd crash out, or you'd be completely activated. And now think about the last time that thing happened. Was your reaction the same? Be honest here. If you still be turning up, it's cool. There's no judgment here, all right? We're all works in progress, all right? But was there a little more space in between the trigger, the thought, and the reaction? If there was a reaction at all, baby, that's growth. Was there more steadiness? Were you a little more calm, a little more level headed? Maybe you still felt something because you're human, you're supposed to feel things, but did it take you all the way out like it used to? That's the point. And this is what nervous system regulation looks like in real life. It doesn't mean you become a robot. It doesn't mean that nothing affects you, but it just means your window of tolerance expands. We talked about this in a previous episode, and it means you have more capacity to feel something without being consumed by it. And if your triggers are losing a little of their grip, even in the slightest of ways, that is your nervous system healing. That is months of work showing up in a moment, in real time, in real life situations. Do not minimize that. Give yourself credit for that. And green flag number 5, you're making decisions from desire instead of fear. And this might be the most powerful one on my list. Think about how many decisions you've made from fear. And you may have stayed in something because leaving felt terrifying. Been there, done that. You may say yes because saying no felt dangerous. Been there, done that. You may be playing small because being seen felt like too much of a risk. So you might have chosen the safe option, the familiar option, the option that wouldn't rock the boat, the option that was socially acceptable or that your family approved of. And not because it was what you really wanted deep down inside, but because it was what felt survivable. And now I want you to think about a decision you made purely from desire, where your heart was like, I actually want this. This feels aligned for me. This is who I'm becoming, and I'm choosing it on purpose. And I just want you to think of one thing, even if it's small, and just notice that shift from fear based choosing to desire based choosing. It is one of the deepest identity level changes a woman can make. Write that down. And it means you're starting to trust yourself. It means you're starting to believe that what you want matters, what you desire matters, and you're deserving of it. And it means the subconscious programming that says, stay safe, stay small, don't want too much, don't rock the boat. It's starting to lose its hold. And if you're making even some of your decisions from just pure desire, baby, big green flag, not the little one. All right. And green flag number 6, you're attracting different people and situations into your life. So, friend, look around. And I know this one can feel a little woo woo, but stay with me here because there's actually a very practical explanation for why this happens. So, when you change internally, you change what you're available for, right? You change what you tolerate. You change the energy you walk into a room with, the way you show up in conversations, the standards you hold without having to announce them. And people can feel that. Situations reflect that. So if you're noticing that different kinds of people are showing up in your life, people who are more aligned, who are more expansive, who are committed to their own growth and their own evolution, that is not a coincidence. And if you're finding yourself in rooms you wouldn't have been in a year ago, having conversations you wouldn't have had a year ago, being invited into opportunities that feel like confirmation of who you're becoming, please pay attention to that. That is your outer world catching up to your inner work. And that is the most beautiful green flag of all. So there they are, 6 flags for your own life, 6 signs that your inner work is actually working, even on the days it doesn't look or feel like it, even in the seasons where progress feels invisible and you're wondering if you're just spinning your wheels. You're wondering if any of this matters. You are not spinning your wheels. You are not doing this for nothing. You are building and you're doing it quietly. You're doing it consistently. You're doing it in the moments nobody sees, the moments nobody is clapping for. You're becoming someone different than you were. And the fact that you can't always see it doesn't mean it's not happening. And I'm going to be here to remind you. that the work is working. Transformation is not always loud. Sometimes it's really just a pause where there used to be reaction, a moment of grace where there used to be judgment or shame or guilt, a decision made from desire where there used to be fear. And I need you to actually receive that, not just hear it and move on. All right. Don't just hear this podcast, move on about your day, and then forget everything I said. All right. I need you to hold this close, receive it as truth. And once you finish this episode, I want you to sit with it for a second. If you can journal whatever's coming up for you. But I want you to really acknowledge yourself. Even if you write a letter to yourself, just thanking yourself for showing up, thanking yourself for doing the work. All right. You are doing the work. You are showing up and it is working. Even if you can't see it yet, you're doing better than you think. And I genuinely believe that about you, friend. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If this episode gave you a little boost, all right, if it helped you big up yourself a little bit, share it with a woman who needs to hear it. Share it with a friend who has been doing the work and might not be giving herself enough credit. And if you haven't already, go grab your spot in 75 Her. Early bird pricing closes this Friday, March 6th. The link is in the show notes. You can read all about it. I put a lot of detail in there so you know what the challenge entails. I promise we are not going hard. We are not going ham. Baby, you should already know by now listening to this podcast. We don't do that, all right? We lean more towards our feminine. We lean more towards devotion. We lean more towards softness and alignment and flow. So do not be scared. Don't be scared. Okay. Sign up and you'll see. You'll see on the other side. Friend, I love you. I believe in you. I will see you next week. I'm Ashley Hope. And until next time, stay in devotion to your becoming. I'm Ashley Hope, and you've been listening to Evolving into Her. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for choosing her, for choosing yourself. And until next time, stay in devotion to your becoming.